Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet President Trump at the White House today. This comes a day after President Trump and Russian President Putin spoke on the phone and agreed to meet in Budapest to discuss ending the war. Joining us right now with more is Nina Khrushcheva. She is the New School Professor of International Affairs and co-author of In Putin's Footsteps. Nina, thank you very much for being with us today. How are you reading this latest conversation between the United States and Russia?
Well, we keep dismissing Donald Trump as kind of everybody's fool because he's so bombastic and says many things a mile a minute. But he actually is being very transactional about the relationship because everybody kind of keeps pulling him one side or another, or Russian side or Ukrainian side. But he's not taking sides, and he's really playing, interestingly, both hands. So he's essentially post-ideology. He's no longer punishing Russia for being Russia, punishing Putin for being Putin, but at the same time keeps him on a tight leash, saying, well, I'm willing to negotiate with you, but if not, I'm going to go and give Ukraine more weapons and everything else. And so far, I think it is working. So he's not giving either side what they wanted, but he keeps going, and eventually, potentially, they may agree to some sort of a peace agreement.
Yeah, if you look at President Trump's kind of arc of his relationship with Putin has definitely cooled, and his relationship with Zelensky seems to have warmed. It's hard to put that in exact kind of parameters, but where we've come since January feels like a very long way. But he did say that this conversation with Putin was very good, and he has a good relationship with him still. Putin, it seems like he's pretty cagey and hard to nail down and hard to get anything positive out, particularly with the drone attacks that he has really ramped up when it comes to Ukraine.
Well, and I think actually the thing about relationship, and I think you really put it very well, Trump likes Putin. Putin is his man. They've known each other, or they've talked many times. He thinks he understands Putin. He wants to deal with Russia. It's big. It has a lot of gold and everything else. And I think he doesn't like Vladimir Zelensky, but he grudgingly learned to respect him. And I think that's what we are basically seeing. But for Trump winning over Putin, this KGB colonel who everybody says having Trump around his little finger, actually is going to be really very big coup. And I think that's why Trump is not swinging. I mean, he keeps swinging, but not to the extreme one way or another, because he still wants to win over Putin, which he thought would be easy, but obviously not. And he does want that Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, obviously, Israel and Palestine is a very important, actually probably the most important thing in his cachet of, as he says, winning wars, if it actually lasts until next year at least. But having Ukraine and Russia peace, this is really a big victory. And I think that's what he's working for. Really, it's not either for Russia, not for Ukraine, not for Putin, for Zelensky. It's working out for Trump. But at the same time, it's potential. I mean, he's working for Trump, but potentially it can bring some peace. And I think he's going very, very clever about it.
So what's the best case and worst case scenario for the situation in Ukraine? Let's say over the next 6 months to a year.
Well, I cannot predict. I mean, there is going to be a high-level conversation on both Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Department of Foreign Affairs, next week. I think Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, really scored very, very big, because Putin is going to meet in Europe. So Putin is returning to Europe sort of in a symbolic way. Other Europe is going to be left behind, because they're not going to play Orban's hand. And so in some ways, the autocrats on the world for now are winning in a way. But it all depends on what Putin can agree on. And my feeling is that Putin has very little desire to give up on anything, even if the United States continues to arm or help arm Ukraine through NATO, continues to give intelligence to bomb Russian oil sides, which, by the way, also works for Trump because everybody would have to buy American oil. So he's once again very clever about it. So potentially we can see some sort of subsiding of the war in 6 months. But to be honest, I'm not optimistic about it because I think that Putin is a hard man. He wants an appearance that he wins. And I don't think anybody wants to give him that appearance. And so he's going to fight, in my view, until he can no longer fight. That means...
Even if we give tomahawks to the Ukraine?
I don't think tomahawks. I mean, already Trump said we need our own tomahawks. How many tomahawks? I mean, what, all 4,000? Ukraine is not going to get them. And so, yes, Russia is going to be destroyed more. But I think that the more you push Putin with force, the more he's willing to pay back. And I think that idea that you kind of peace through force, it's a very Orwellian idea. It never works in real life.